G'day guys, welcome to PBHQ Live episode number 350. A bit of a milestone for PBHQ. I'm Dwayne Nichols. I'm live here in Wagga with all of your paintball news and information, and there's quite a bit. A few events happened over the weekend. Got a big event coming up this weekend with Total War that I'm going to be talking about in just a little bit. I've got the upcoming events over the next sort of few weeks, as well as an update on an event that has been cancelled as well. So I'll be talking about all of that. And the NXL in the US is also having their Mid-Atlantic major this weekend. So we get to talk about that one. If you are joining in, let me know who you are and where you are. The team that you play for, if you're up at the Elite One Rush event on the weekend, or if you're one of the novice players here in Wagga and you're checking out the show for the first time. A few of the people there on the weekend were asking about it. So hopefully some of them jump in and take a bit of an interest in paintball as well. So yeah, a bunch of events scrolling through here that are coming up in the next little while. Also over here is the prize that I'll be giving away tonight. So that will be coming up soon. Brent and Brad from the Wicked Assassin joining in. And if you can please hit the share button, that would be good. Share it to your team chats, particularly everyone that was up at the Elite One event in Coffs. I think it ended up being 15 teams at the event, something like 4 in pro and then 7 in semi-pro and a couple more, 4 maybe more in the AMS division. So really good turnout. And I'd love to get more feedback from everyone involved in the comments section during tonight's show. Brad saying, wish I was at Cost. Yeah, and look, mate, I'm probably in the same boat. I mean, we had a great day here yesterday with our beginners comp, but the word I'm getting out of Coffs Harbour repeatedly from a number of events over the past couple of years is just getting better and better and better. Billy is just in as well and saying just back from Coffs, third place, was an awesome weekend. Alex from Thailand is in, so thanks for joining in as well. Got to speak the paintballshop.com and Gladiator, major sponsors of the show. Paintballshop.com obviously a part of Action Paintball, and they're using their little mention tonight to promote Total War for this coming weekend. A few days ago, I think they had 70 or 80 pre-registration, so people already registered and signed up for the event. Mike said it's somewhere around 100 now, and they're expecting between possibly 120 and 150 players this weekend for Total War, which would be much bigger than the last. I think they ended up with about 75 or 80 players at the last event. So a big increase on that, which would be awesome. You'll get all of the pyrotechnics and the smoke like you see in this photo here. Rego or pre-registration closes on Friday. So you can register up until Friday, get yourself onto the team of your choosing if you so wish. If you don't register and you just wake up on Sunday and decide that you want to go and play Total War, you can also still do that, but you will just get assigned to whichever team needs the most players. Entry from $32, and they have their brand new battlefield that they've been working on for the last couple of weeks in preparation for this event that will be debuting this weekend. So to be played for the first time for everyone out at Total War. If you're playing Total War or you'll be a part of Total War in any way as a ref, photographer, whatever, let me know in the comments too. It's the only real scenario game happening, particularly on a large scale anywhere in Australia at the moment. Going back a few years ago, there was scenario style events with Monkeys Paintball down in Victoria happening all the time. Tamworth ran their own things from time to time. We even dabbled in it here in Wagga, going back a long way. But and Valhalla Paintball, which was formerly TAC Ops, they were one of the more successful ones to get it up and running going back a few years. But now Total War is essentially the only ones doing large scale scenario type games, and if you want to go and play them, Total War is the place to do it. Jordan is back from Cost. Susan is in from the States. Estevan from the Wicked Warriors in Semi is in as well, so thank you for joining in. Yeah, I think Total War is going to be a big one. It's their D-Day event, and I will talk about it a little bit more towards the preview section of tonight's show. And it sort of ties in also with the Gladiator mention. There is 15% off Ultralight 98s, which is a big tank, great for you. I mean, you can run it on your gun, certainly, but it is also a great option to run a remote line to. So if you want to have your tank in your pack and run a remote line so your gun does not have the tank attached. The U98 is a great option for that, and during this month you will save 15% off from participating retailers, so you can find your nearest stockist or retailer at gladiator.com.au and get 15% off an U98. And what, trying to pretend you're focusing in this meeting while watching this? Yeah, come on, mate. I think you can. I don't know. Facebook definitely had the option of live captions. I'm not sure if live captions is an option on YouTube, and if it's something that I have to set up, or if it's something that you can do at your end. But it was definitely possible on Facebook, and that might be about the only benefit that Facebook had over doing the show here on YouTube. But yeah, thanks for checking it out all the same, mate. So yeah, option for you to get an Ultralight 98 if you are so looking to do so for Total War or for any games. I mean, there's definitely guys who are big enough and tall enough, because they're not that much bigger than the Ultralight 88. If you're a big guy playing towards the back of the field and you get through a lot of paint, we'll consider the U98 for you. Couple of quick discussion points on the Mid-Atlantic Major that is coming up this weekend. Essentially, as someone this year who has not followed the NXL series as closely as I have in previous years, Dynasty have won the 2 events so far this year. They've won, I think, 3 out of 5 events last year, or they won 3 out of 4 majors last year as well. They're season champions going on 3 years in a row. They have to be, if you were putting a bet, a bookmaking odds on this, Dynasty would have to go in at like $1.10 favorites. I really like this field layout, by the way. Good use of the giant wings on the inside of the Doritos. I like that. Gives those Doritos players plenty of options. And then the snake, it's sort of got a bit of an inner and an outer. You can play in those mini W's on the outskirts or head right through to the center. So I like that for a layout. I think it will be entertaining to watch. Probably more entertaining than some of the previous layouts we've seen this year. Does anyone beat Dynasty? I'm not sure. If Dynasty, the big thing coming out of this weekend, because Tampa Bay Damage ran second at the first event, and I think was it Heat that ran second at the second event, both to Dynasty as previously mentioned. If Dynasty have let's say a top 4 finish this weekend at the Mid-Atlantic Major, which you would have to expect they would be odds-on favorite to do that, they're essentially and almost certainly locking themselves in for a series title again. I just have to, that might be based whether they're still doing the double points for World Cup thing, but they're in the driver's seat at the moment. Tampa Bay Damage and Heat, whilst they did get a second at one event, I think they finished like 6th and 10th at the other event that they did not finish second at. So Dynasty have got a big lead on the pack already, and I expect that this weekend will be no different. Michael Nomoski is in at the moment. And Brent saying Heat all day. Luke from Make It Rain won't be playing the 4-man, another ear operation coming up. Oh, mate, sorry to hear that, but hopefully you can still make it down and support the guys. Make It Rain from Dubbo coming over for, I think I've got the 4-play event scrolling through there in the upcoming events. It's only like a month away. It's coming up pretty quick, much quicker than I sort of realized after running the beginners event here over the weekend. So that's what's coming up with the Mid-Atlantic Major. Interested to see how it plays out. I'm more interested just purely to see how Dynasty end up. The guys, a bunch of guys in there, mid through late 30s and early 40s, and they're just at the absolute peak of their game. Interestingly here, Mike Hinman of Aftermath, or most notably from Aftermath, will be coaching with AC Diesel and has been at the last couple of weekends. And A-Rod was not at training last weekend in preparation for the event. I don't know if he was out training with the guys this weekend. This was posted around the time the show went live last week, so I haven't got to mention it. Hinman is highly regarded as one of the best coaches in the game, and he's had a lot to do with guys like Spicker, like Mouse, like J-Rab, pretty much from the time that they were teenagers and making their way into the Pro Division. He's had a lot to do with various guys there, and like I said, he's highly regarded. He's had Aftermath teams be successful with rosters that are nowhere near as star-studded and as competitive as that AC Diesel roster. And that Diesel roster, they're essentially the all-star lineup of 2023, and they have been underwhelming to say the least so far. Hopefully we see something better out of them. I've seen some comments on YouTube videos during the week related to AC Diesel and just the NXL in general, wondering how these guys haven't made a real impact on the season this year so far. It probably proves how tight the competition is with teams like Dynasty, Heat, Infamous, Tampa Bay Damage, whoever else is in that sort of top tier of teams at the moment. But AC Diesel should definitely be there. They have the roster to do that. Hinman could be the addition that they need. Brad Short saying that Harrison Fry is on fire at the moment. Yeah, oh man. I mean, he's a guy that's just putting in the work. He's the definition of hustling and grinding to get to where he needs to be. Great pickup by Dynasty. He sort of came through from nowhere through semi-pro. He was playing internationally in just about every country in the world for a couple of years, jumping on with any team. He gets to start with Seattle Thunder. Did good things there. Went over, was it Infamous that he played with next? Did good things there. And now he's just like an absolute lock in the Pro Division. He went from an exciting rookie prospect to a dependable player now. So yeah, Harrison's doing great things. And if you're going to sell the Shocker signed by him, there's probably a long list of people interested in picking that one up. Now, results from the weekend, as I mentioned, one of the biggest events in the country, essentially at the moment, with so many events being cancelled, postponed, running with smaller than desired numbers. The Elite One Rush events are doing such good numbers at the moment, and in their Division 1 or their Pro Division, Raw got the win in an overtime point against Black Flag. Black Flag had a roster thrown together with a couple of players from Colt and other teams sort of helping out and getting together with Black Flag on that one. Blade, the sort of local team to the Coffs and sort of southern Queensland region, those guys getting third in that one over the weekend. This photo by Jesse Wheeler of the Black Flag guys preparing for a game there. So there was a webcast. I didn't get to watch any of the webcasts throughout Saturday. I was able to watch a little bit on Sunday at times late in the afternoon, and then was able to go back and watch some finals games today. Quick shout out to the guys. I'm not sure who put the webcast together up there. I did hear a couple of different people. There was times where there was no commentary. There was times when there was a bit. I think Elmo did a bit of commentary. Donovan from the Bush Pigs was up doing commentary during the finals. So I think it's a bit of a community effort to get that together. It's not an extensive webcast by any means. There's not 8 cameras and all these types of things going on. There's pretty much 1 or 2 cameras, and then you can get into the pits for a look as well. But for the sake of what it is a good tool to go through and watch some of your games back. That funky field layout, there was some pretty cool stuff that went down. There was long drawn out points. I seen a 15-second point that the Elite One guys uploaded on to their Instagram page earlier today. So a bit of everything for everyone up there. Heard good paint, mixture of options of paint, unbelievable field, which we always hear, good refereeing, great weather. It just seems like everything went to plan. Congrats to Raw on that win. And then, excuse me, in the semi-pro division, the Bush Pigs defeated the Top Hat Jokers and Wicked Assassins, got third. Again, photo by Jesse Wheeler. And thank you to Jesse for sending these through earlier this morning. Like I say, if you look at events around the country, the NXL Victoria has not ran an event this year. Although they did throw together a training day in place of an event earlier this year, they have not ran an event with referees and teams as you would typically expect. The NXL ACT has not. The NXL Queensland has not yet, but they've got one towards the end of July, I believe, that they're trying to get together at the moment. NXL WA ran one and cancelled one. Other events, the Queensland events at Valhalla Paintball. They ran one earlier in the year that was reasonably successful and seeing good numbers, but the one for later this month, because of conflicts for teams between COFs, Total War, and other events, they've cancelled that one. So to have 15 teams out is a massive, massive effort, and all the credit goes to everyone involved there. And it seems like if anyone is doing good things in paintball at the moment, they're in that southern Queensland, down maybe to Sydney region, just through the central and mid-north coast. Teams are flocking to Coffs Harbour at the moment to play these events, and they're having to run a race to 2 format now, where they've previously ran race to 3, just to get through all of the games. So it might get to a point at some point soon where they're running over 2 weekends with like an AMS weekend and then the semi-pro and pro weekend, because the semi-pro and pro teams do play against one another during this event. So yeah, shout out to the guys. They're doing the best in the country as far as putting on events at the moment. And I don't think you could get an argument from anyone as far as that is concerned. And then down here for the Wagga 3-man beginners or novice event. So we had 9 teams out in the end. We had 10 booked, and one team's deposit, I kind of gave them a bit too much rope, and they said it was bouncing back and that they'd paid it a few times. And then when it got down to a couple of days before the event, I realized that they were just stuffing me around, and they didn't show, not unsurprisingly. So we only ran with 9 rather than 10 teams. So it was a great day. Started out, it was probably foggy until around 11 a.m. It just lingered and lingered, but you can see this photo about 2:30 at the conclusion of the day, where Scrambled Legs got the win. Great team name, by the way. You always see that in these beginners events. These guys had played one beginners event before, I think, or maybe one of them had played 2. And then Baruma being one of the suburbs here in Wagga, those guys got 2nd, and then Younglings got 3rd. And the Younglings, they were 2 younger brothers and a fiance of one of the guys who plays on Asylum coming out. So a bit of a family affair there. Unreal day, really liking this. And the feedback that I got this time around from some of the teams looking to get more into the game, asking questions about how to buy guns and gear, sold a few masks across the course of the day too. Really positive outlook from all of the teams, and hopefully we can convert some of those guys into players. I'll actually, on the day prior to the Wagga 4 play, which is happening on the 9th of July, on the 8th of July, I'm hoping to personally run like a beginners clinic, essentially giving them some training and tips to get them up to speed, so that when they start training with our guys or training and playing events in the future, whether that be 3-man or 5-man, they've got a bit of a grasp on how things run. So congrats to those guys from Scrambled Legs, and those guys in particular. Standard of play was decent across the board, but they were real standouts for the weekend, deserved the win. I'm not sure if they lost any games across the whole day. I'd have to go back and check, but as I say, absolute standouts, good blokes too. So congratulations to them. What have I got to run? Oh, and Total War, I know I've already mentioned a little bit at the start of the show. I have to mention this photo of Elmo by John from the previous event. And there's a couple of other photos in this sequence of Elmo shooting 2 guns at the previous Total War event. But as I mentioned, D-Day, World War II, first use of their new battlefield. You'll get all the smoke, all the pyro, and hopefully 120 or more players. It's essentially at 100 already. It's Monday now. You've got until Friday to register your teams to go out and play this one. Register to play on a team and pick your team, or just show up on the day. Mike did say that they usually expect somewhere in the region of like 30 to 50% of players to just show up on the day without pre-registering. So again, if you want to choose your team, you have to register in advance to go on and play with whichever team it is that you prefer. Otherwise, you'll just get told to go on whichever team. But no doubt it'll be a big weekend out at Action Paintball Yarramundi for that one. So if you're playing it, make sure you send me some photos and messages after the event over the weekend so we can talk about it all here next week on PBHQ. And before we wrap up tonight, there is a couple more things that I have to get through. Piano is coming up in South Australia, just touching on some upcoming events. I see that they've got 3 or 4 teams confirmed so far. Hopefully they can get that up to 5 or 6 again. Like a lot of events, team numbers have been down a little bit in South Australia. MXBL in Malaysia, so the Malaysian X-Ball League, STK Entourage are heading over for that one. That's the only Australian team that I'm aware of at this stage. And the 4-play here in Wagga is sold out, all 8 spots. I think I'm waiting on 1 team's deposit or maybe 2 teams' deposit for that one. But otherwise, we're essentially sold out and ready to go for that event, which is a capped price event that I'm excited for. I do have a giveaway to do, but before I do that, I'll quickly run through some birthdays to shout out. So Chris is today today is the 12th. So Chris and Dale tomorrow, Terry and Liam, Brad, Dave and Zach all celebrating birthdays this week. I hope you guys all have a good week. It's a shame that we don't get to see more of Brad out on the paintball field with Marauders disbanding for this year and him moving elsewhere, I think up to Queensland it might have been. So I don't know if and when we'll see Brad back out on the field. And then the giveaway, I've got this Akazo Brave action cam, and during the start of the year, someone suggested giving away a GoPro, and then I looked up the prices of GoPros at the beginning of this year, and they were absolutely absurd. But I did a bunch of YouTube watching at the time on reviews of GoPro alternatives, and this seemed to be the pick of the bunch, and it is much more affordable for something for me to buy as something that I'm giving away. If you're a patron of the show, let me find my list here. No, wrong button. Let me see if I can get it back here. There we go. That's correct. All right, so what I'm going to do is this list of all these names here, I'm going to randomize it 3 times. The person in the number 1 slot on the 3rd randomizing of this list will be the winner, and I'll reach out to them tonight after the show. So let's spin it up. You can see the randomize button there. Oh, but you can't see who's in the number 1 slot, so I'll bring that down. Pops is in the number 1 spot there at the moment. Let's scroll down here and spin it up again. So Darren Coburn in the number 1 spot. And 3rd and final time for the winner. Let's spin that up one last time. Nick Wells. So I will reach out to Wellsy and get in touch with him to organise to get this prize to him. Wellsy, again, someone who hasn't played paintball in a little while, but still supports the show. So I can appreciate that. Let me find my way back to the camera so you can see me again. As of a couple of days ago, a couple of people, and this is coming as no surprise to me, given the cost of living pressures that we're all under at the moment, a couple of people are cancelling their Patreon subscriptions. No harm done. I can absolutely understand that. But if you are interested in signing up at patreon.com/PBHQ, it's only about $7 Australian a month. When it works over from the US figure at the time, well, you can go in the draw to win a whole bunch of good stuff. And for next month, it's a couple of the PBHQ barrel socks and hats. So they will be available when I do the giveaway at the beginning of next month. And then throughout the end of the year, pod bags, pods, paint, backpacks, the carbon SC Pro bottoms, and then the big prizes for the people that have been signed up all year are available there. Tanks for your team and a $2,000 shopping spree at paintballshop.com being the major prize. With the way things are looking throughout this year, with a few people cancelling their Patreon subscriptions, next year's prize list probably won't be as big as it is this year. Just is the nature of the way things are going at the moment. Things are becoming more expensive. So they're harder for me to get as prizes to give away, and then less people signed up to the Patreon. It's just finding a delicate balance. I love giving away prizes on the show, but I've got to balance that out with not just blowing all of the money to do that. So I'll be working on that towards the end of the year. But thank you to everyone who does remain a patron of the show. I really do appreciate it. It's the only reason that, combined with the few sponsors of the show that you routinely see scrolling up here in the corner, that's the only reason I can dedicate so much time to doing this show. So I really do appreciate it. Congratulations again to Wellesley. I'll reach out to him in just a minute. And hopefully you guys can all hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button if you haven't already. And join me again next Monday for PBHQ Live. Until then, have a great week. Bye.